Hey everybody out there to VC, this is Dylan for a quick vinyl update for you. Try to make it as quick as I can. The goal is always 15 minutes, but I almost never get it that quick. But what we got on the turntable right now is Led Zeppelin live in Seattle. It's the 1973 tour. This is kind of one of those essential bootlegs. Great show. It is an audience recording, but it's a really good audience recording. That's one that you'll see pretty commonly, but that's a must-have bootleg in my opinion. So here's some recent vinyl finds. This is some stuff that I've decided to add to my collection to keep, so none of this stuff's for sale, but I just thought I'd show you the kind of stuff I'm getting and keeping, because a lot of my videos are stuff that I think people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that I'm selling and I'm a dealer and all this stuff, but I think that if we're honest with ourselves, most of us are dealers to an extent. You know, when you go to a record show, probably 75% of the people there buy and sell to some degree. So, but anyways, I think that a lot of people don't like that I'm always showing stuff I'm selling. So, these are some that I'm keeping for myself. This is one I've been looking for a really long time. This is the Flower Traveling Band. Name of the record, Satori. Flower Traveling Band. Satori, that's the name of the album. This is actually a reissue. That's the gatefold. And some people are saying it's a bootleg. This is under Phoenix Records. And I've seen, like back from the 80s, there was a label called Phoenix Records, and they would put out some bootlegs, like Beatles bootlegs and Zeppelin bootlegs and stuff like that. I don't know if it's the same one, but on Discogs it says this is unofficial and they're not allowed to sell them. So this is a really good record. This is a Japanese band. I don't think that there's any original U.S. pressings of this album. I think they're all either UK or Japan. But this is like heavy. It's pretty heavy early metal. This is a lot like Black Sabbath, but it's got like some Jimi Hendrix-esque guitar in there too. It's really, really killer guitar stuff. It's unbelievable this is not a more popular album and a more popular band. They have several other albums, and this is the only one that I'm familiar with, but this is a high recommendation for me. Really incredible record. The first time I heard it, I had to have one. So this is a reissue. Even the reissues are really kind of hard to find. So when I saw that one, I jumped on it. Also, this next batch came from, there's a website called Blow It Outta Here. Let's see. It's called Blow It Outta Here. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's a record website. Well, it's record CDs, cassettes, like all kinds of different musical merchandise. But occasionally they'll have sales, they'll have coupons, stuff like that. But they have the cheapest new records that I've seen anywhere. So if you guys want to check it out, you can just Google Blow It Outta Here. But Outta only has one T, so it's blowitout-here.com. But anyways, really, really cool stuff, really cheap records. And so these are the ones that I had a coupon and they were having a sale, so I got them for really cheap. This first one is Greta Van Fleet. This is their EP, Black Smoke Rising. This came out in 2017, I think in August. If you haven't heard this, it's worth a listen, just to check it out. I'm sure you might have seen it around, but this is, these brothers have a band. Three of them are brothers, so the bass player, the guitar player, and the drummer. The bass player, guitar player, and vocals, they're all brothers, and then the drummer is one of their friends. But these guys are like from 18 to 20, and they sound just like Led Zeppelin. It's unbelievable. It's uncanny. If you haven't heard this, I really like it. A lot of people have mixed feelings about it because they sound so much like Zeppelin. They said they're not original, but I mean, Led Zeppelin's not ever coming out with any more new music, and that sounds just like it. So I'm cool with it. I love it. I really do. I'm looking forward to they're coming out with a full-length album, I think, this year. I'm not sure the details on that, but that's the only one that's available on vinyl right now. So that one I would really check out if you get it's good stuff. The next one, this one's Stooges Funhouse. I can't remember how much this was, but I want to say it was like $16, something like that. It was a cheap reissue. I used to have an original, sold it a long time ago. I love this record, but I don't know if I'm willing to pay original prices for it. I'm just kind of tired of looking for it and really wanted it on vinyl, so I grabbed it. Cannot recommend that album enough. Incredible. This is the Stooges, their first self-titled album. I used to have an original of this too, but now I don't. So this is actually a 2 LP. The first LP is the actual album. The second LP is some different mixes, alternate vocals, alternate stuff. This is the gatefold for it. But I think this was $13. Like that was before the coupon, so that was a really good deal on that. This one I used to have original of too. This is Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. This is a really cool record. This is one that I've loved over the years. I grew up listening to it as a 90s kid. This one's one I've been looking for on vinyl, and it's another one that if you try to find an original, you're going to trade your car. Really expensive. This is CA Quintet, Trip Through Hell. This is a really cool, really trippy album. It's incredible in stereo. This is the Sundays reissue. I can't remember how much this was, but it's on gold wax. But yeah, this is a really, really killer psych record. Really super psychedelic. Heavy, heavy psychedelic record. Really, really like this album. Like I said, you know, it's one of those that I'm totally cool buying a reissue because there's no freaking way I'm ever going to buy an original. And if I do find an original, I'm going to sell it because it's worth a few grand. Same goes with this one. Leaf Hound, Grows from Mushroom. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, but if you're not, this is a really heavy fuzz blues rock record. This is impossible to find an original of, and the originals are $3,000 and up. Ridiculous prices. But this is a really, you gotta check this record out. Find it if you can just look it up on YouTube if you haven't heard it before. But this one comes highly recommended for me as well. Really, really incredible record. Glad to have a reissue of it. This next batch came from my local record store, Lunchbox Records. Never go into a record store. I really try to get my vinyl cheap. I really try to find things out in the wild so I don't have to pay huge prices for stuff. But I went in there. They're always really reasonable. If you guys are ever in Charlotte, they're the best record store in Charlotte. They're one of the best record stores I've ever been to. It's really good. But one thing that they do is they, the stuff from past record store days that didn't sell, they mark them 50% off. So they always got bins of 50% off record store day stuff. It's incredible. And it's stuff from several years ago all the way to, I think once they've had it for a year, they mark it 50% or something like that. So anyways, these two are, I didn't realize they even had them. I don't know when they came out. I guess a couple years ago, record store day. But this is, the first one is the Third Power Believe. Originals of this are $100, $120, something like that. So I love this record, but I'm really not trying to pay that much for records. This is a record store day. I think it was a 2014 or 15, I can't remember, but on red vinyl. This is a really incredible record. A lot of people compare this to the Stooges and MC5 and stuff. I wouldn't compare it to them, really. They're a lot more melodic, I think, and it's a little bit different to me, a little bit more psychedelic, in my opinion. This is a really great record. This is what the gatefold looks like. And this one was marked down. I think I paid $9 for this. So I was like stoked about it. Brand new copy. Same for this one. The Remains. This was a reissue from a couple years ago. This one is on white vinyl. This is Sundays. This is a record store day edition. Originals of this are like 100, 150, something like that. This is a great, great record. Everyone that's ever heard it that I've ever talked to has loved it. So highly recommend that record as well. Then they had, this is some original stuff that they had. I guess they got a really good collection in. I had seen this record around. This is called Valhalla. I've seen this record around. I've seen the cover. Like when I'm looking at stuff on YouTube. I'm trying to remember what, I think this is from '68 or '69. But when I'm looking at different albums on YouTube, listening to stuff at work, this one always popped up. And I never had listened to it before, but they had it there at a really good price. I can't remember what it was, but I got it kind of blind buy. I mean, that cover, man, it's incredible. And it's you know, early early metal type stuff, really in my vein. I love that early, really heavy metal, good guitar stuff. That's what that is. Highly recommend that too. Really great album. This one I have never even seen this before, never heard of it. This was total blind buy. This was it's a band called Second Coming, and the album's called Help. This is a psychedelic record. Let's see, this is from late 60s, or this is 71, sorry. This is a really cool, I think they had a couple other records. I was looking online. It's a really cool record. Let's see what track that was, the opening track. Let's see, Do You Understand the Words? That first track, man, I was hooked as soon as I heard that track. It just really, it's a just killer track. I don't buy online ever. Really seldomly buy online, and I know every time that I have a recent finds video, there's something online, but I have been looking for the band Bang. I've been looking for their records. I never see them anywhere. I've had, let's see, I don't know if it's called Bow to the King or Mother. I think it's called Mother / Bow to the King. I don't know. But anyways, this seller had 3 Bang records as a buy it now, and I can't remember how much it was, but it was really cheap. Couldn't believe it. I really thought they must at least all be reissues, and so I ended up just like, buy it now, done. And I messaged him. I was like, "What's the deal with these?" And he's like, "They're all really great shape, originals." And I was like, "Cool, whatever." I mean, I think it was the price of one, and I got all 3. So this first one is their self-titled Bang. That's the back cover. It's the label. This is some really killer early hard rock. Love this record, man. Really unbelievable record. Same as this one. This one's probably my favorite of theirs, Mother, Bow to the King. I found this a few years ago in a collection. That's what the gatefold looks like. But I found this a few years ago in a collection, and it was one of those things where it was going for quite a bit of money. I think originals of that normally go $50-$60. It was going for a lot of money, and I didn't even listen to it. At the time, I really needed money, and if something was going for a lot of money, I didn't want it even more. So, and be tempted to keep it, so I just wouldn't listen to it. So, got those 2, and then this one, I actually did not know what this was. Let me take it out of there. This is called Death of a Country. Okay? This is what the gatefold looks like. I had no idea what this was. I'd never seen this record before, but it was by Bang, so I was like, hey, I'll get it. I get it in the mail. Check that out. Some yellow wax. So I was like, what is the deal with this thing? And did some research. This is actually their first recording. This was their 1971 album, first recording. This one's a lot different than their other albums. This one's more of a concept record. I really like it. I mean, it's really crazy. It just sounds a lot different to me, but it's a really good record. I really love it, and I'm really excited to have found it because I didn't know it existed before, so that's great. This next batch came from, this was trade-ins that I got at my pop-up booth at Lenny Boy Brewery last month. This is, his YouTube name is Black Cat Records. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a video on YouTube, it's got thousands of views now, but it's a PSYCH record collection. Most of the stuff is sealed. And this guy just flipping through like mind-blowing sealed PSYCH records, and this is him, Black Guy Records. Didn't know he lived in Charlotte, him and his wife, and really gotten to know them here and there the past few months. And he came to the pop-up and brought these records and traded them to me, and just really grateful. Thank you, man, Robert. Really love these. This is a Dirty Blues Band. This is just a straightforward. I mean, the cover looks psychedelic, but it is not psychedelic. It's just that, male feel, early Clapton kind of dirty blues. They're just Dirty Blues Band. It lives up to its name. Some good harmonica work in there and stuff. Really like that record. This is one I've been looking for a long time. Hawkwind, Warrior on the Edge of Time. This is just a mind blower right here. Just have been looking for this. Can never find a clean copy. He brings this stunner in. Absolutely incredible. Love it. Brought me this too. This Hawkwind. Hadn't really heard much from this before. This is Hall of the Mountain. Let's see, Hall of the Mountain Grail. Listened to this last night and really, really loved it. Hawkwind, can't go wrong. I'm sure you guys know that. And then he brought this one, Bang Music. So now I think I've got all the Bang discography just in this last month. I've gotten all of it. So I actually not listened to this yet, but I'm sure it's great. So excited for that. Alright guys, so this next little batch comes from a few days ago. It's Mother's Day weekend coming up and had some extra time. My wife had the day off work, so did I. So I booked a hotel room in Asheville, which is about 3 hours, 2.5 maybe, from us here where we are in Charlotte. I had a couple leads up there for some records, so I needed some new stuff for the pop-up. I mean, I could have done the pop-up just fine, but I really try to make sure that every time there's new, fresh stuff, that my regular people that are always coming back can always find something good and not be the typical same stuff all the time. So anyways, I just kind of want a little bit of a cherry on top of the sundae. So I went to a couple different places. One of them was Harvest Records in Asheville. I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but it's a really great shop. The owner there, Matt, he's a really nice guy, really cool. They have a basement sale every year where they sell tons of stuff for really cheap, and but throughout the rest of the year, sometimes they'll let you in the basement, sometimes they won't. It's kind of secretive about it, but he took me down there to the basement and he said, have at it, anything down here is fair game. There's a few thousand records down there. He's like, we need to get rid of some of this stuff, so everything's a quarter. So a quarter each on the records. So I ended up buying about 120 records. Most of them were like, I just figured I'll buy some stuff that'll be good for the dollar bins that I have. I don't normally dig like that, but I thought, sometimes there might be some decent stuff in here. Found a few that were going to end up being pretty cool. So here are the ones that I got from there. These were a quarter each. This one is a blind buy. Never ever heard of this. It's called Electricity, Language of the Heart. And it looked a little psychedelic. It's got a big old rip off the cover, but it's on, I don't even know what record label it's on. It's on Flying Fish Record. This thing looks pretty killer. So I'll have to let you guys know. If you guys know anything about this record, let me know. This next one, I've seen this before, but never pulled the trigger on. This is from Spankin' Our Gang. This is Spankin' Our Gang is usually pretty cheap. They're considered, I guess, psychedelic bands. For a quarter, I actually got 2 of these. And then this one looked to be the absolutely coolest. This one's called Marshmallow Way. I think this is from 67, 68. This is some just straight up psychedelic rock. I haven't listened to it yet. I read a little bit about it and looking forward to putting it on the turntable. If you guys know anything about that, let me know. So, went a couple other places, bought some decent stuff. On the way back home, there was a guy I'd been talking to. His place was in Zirconia, which is a really small town, really small town, in the mountains. And I talked to him a little bit, and he really seemed like he had some good stuff. He said that his prices were extremely reasonable. He was very adamant about that. Said, and I'll send him a list of bands I was looking for, He's like, yeah, I got all that stuff. Come on down, you know, to the house, and I've got this killer collection, blah, blah, blah. So I get there. This happens from time to time. Somebody will tell you that they have a record collection that you need to look at, and it was their personal collection, and blah, 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 blah. You get to their house, and then everything's priced. It turns out these people are dealers, too. And I hate when that happens because you can almost never make money. So I get it to his house, and I start looking through the records, and just the way they're presented in his garage, I'm like, this guy's a dealer for sure. And he had price tags on everything. The price tags were really high. Like, he had like $80, $70, $60 on Hendrix records that were pretty common. And I was like, and I like within 5 minutes, I was like, man, I'm gonna head out. I really, these prices are ridiculous. And he's like, no, ignore the prices. I'll cut you a deal. I'll cut you. I'm like, no, man, even if you cut me a deal. And I showed him the one I showed him. It was Jimi Hendrix Cry of Love, and I was like, you know, this is priced to $80, and I probably would ask like 12 for this record. I mean, tops. And he's like, he's in really good shape. I'm like, I don't care. It would have to have Jimi Hendrix's signature on there to be worth $80. I mean, there's absolutely no way. And I was like, I can't spend anything close to that. I don't want to waste your time. You know, my wife and kids are in the car. I'm not doing this. So he's like, look, just pick out 10 records, and I'll give you a price, and you can keep digging if you like the price I give you. So I picked out 10 records. He gave me a price, and it was really reasonable. I was like, okay, well, whatever. So I kept digging. It was really nothing to write home about. There was some David Bowie stuff, some Bob Dylan stuff, just decent stuff I could sell, people like. And I was like, you got anything more psychedelic, anything, you know, kind of describing what I'm like. He's like, let me run inside. I just got some that you might like. He's inside for like 20 minutes. Comes back outside. He comes out with a stack about this big. And it's Pink Floyd, some other psychedelic stuff, and then he came out with some other really good stuff. So this is what he came back out with. I'm not even gonna show the other stuff because it's too common, and I think I sold most of it already. James Brown, Hell. Man, this record is so freaking cool. I've seen copies of this somewhere, like maybe people posted on a line about it, but I've never seen one in the flesh. Look at that artwork. I had to have it when I saw it. Look at that. This was mid-70s, maybe 73, 74. But this is some really, really funky James Brown. I mean, I know James Brown's, you know, godfather of funk or whatever, but or godfather of soul, I guess you'd say. But man, this is just some really particularly funky James Brown. I love this record. I listened to it today, and I was like, man, it's got some really cool artwork on the cover. Anyways, I'm going to keep listening to it again. I want to listen to the first disc. It's a 2 LP set. So this is not one that you see very often. It's got some value to it. It's funny because the album's called Hell, but the label, it says It's Hell on it. I don't know if you can see that. But anyways, so that's pretty cool. So when I saw that, I was pretty stoked. To see some of the other ones he had. This is another one that, like, we were at the end of the deal, and we were about $10 apart, and I was like, throw this record in, and we'll be square. This is Procol Harum, Salty Dog, and I actually had a copy of this, but it was really rough. So he threw it in, and we made the deal happen. I wasn't familiar with this. It says Cube Records on it. I wasn't familiar with that, but it was a really heavy stock, and I was like, wow, this is a really heavy stock copy. I didn't realize it was a 2 LP. It was a Procol Harum wider shade of pale. This is, I guess it's their first record. I've got a copy of an original wider shade of pale. So this is a 2 LP set. I thought it was pretty cool, but I was also kind of bummed out that it wasn't just Salty Dog, because I already have the other one. But anyways, I might keep that. I might let go of it. I'm not sure. This is another one that I've been looking for a really long time. This is Love Out Here. This is on Blue Thumb. This is one of the only Love records I didn't have. Actually, now I'm just looking for. Now I'm looking for For Sale, which I used to have it, and I don't have it. And they're self-titled. So both of those are kind of on my lookout. After I get both of those, I'll have all the Loves. But this is a really cool record, man. I've been looking for this for a long time. I mean, Arthur Lee, Love, can't go wrong. This one was in that stack, and when I saw it, I freaked out a little bit. I tried to not act too excited. This is probably number one on my want list. Number one Grail for me. I used to have a copy of this. I sold it, and they just go for too much money. This is Velvet Underground and Nico. This is a this is not the airbrush cover, but it's a blue label. It's a stereo copy on Verve. It's actually a really clean copy. I mean, it's got a little bit of ring wear, but actually really clean. I've been looking for one of these. Last year, when I sold off a huge chunk of my collection, this was one of the first ones to go. I had a copy just like this, and I had bought it for like $40, I think. And it was a great deal for $40 because they usually go for a lot more. And somebody offered me, I can't remember how much they offered me, it was well over $100. And so I took it, and I didn't want to pay $100 for this album. I mean, I know they're out there, really hard to find. Some of his other stuff he was asking, like his Pink Floyd records, he was asking full-blown retail for them. So I kind of made it, what he asked for this was, I hate to even tell you because I justified buying it and not being like, well, that's worth more, because his other stuff he was asking so much for. So it kind of evened out. I paid more for the other stuff than I would normally just to get this in the batch. But he sold this to me for $5. I guess he didn't know what they were worth. Most of his records were either $5 or $10. His Pink Floyd records were like around $15, $20. So that's the kind of stuff that people buy at my pop-ups. They really like that stuff. They'll sell, so I always pick them up when I can. And normally, if I don't have a better margin than that, I never buy them. But this was in there too. I wanted to make it worthwhile for him. I want to make it worthwhile for me. So I got some Pink Floyd stuff that would sell, and then got this, man. This was number one on my list. I know it's peeled and everything. I don't really care. This album is just one of my absolute favorites. Could not be more pleased with this. So, anyways, that was number one. Oh, and then there's this one, the Frost Music. It's a really cheap record. For some reason, let's see, it's got spine wear and all that stuff. For some reason, this album, you can get it for $5 or $10, really cheap. But this is a great PSYCH record. Absolutely great. Some killer guitar work on there. Great stuff. And then, I'm sure you guys saw my last video, or it might have been 2 videos ago, where I bought the Bikers Collection. I didn't show this in there because I was keeping it, but this is the only record I kept from that whole huge haul. The only one I kept. It's Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits. Now, I have had a million copies of this. Every time I get a copy, I look for the poster, and it's never in there. But this guy was like really good about keeping everything in there, and there it is, the poster. So really stoked to get that. The cover is not in great shape, so I probably will find a really clean first pressing and Frankenstein it, get the poster out of this one and put it back in that one, so I'll have a good clean copy. But so that's it for stuff I found. I have one more little batch to show you guys. So my Instagram, if you guys follow me, I hit 10,000 followers a couple years ago, and when I did, I'm at like 16,000 now. But when I hit 10,000, I started getting people that would contact me and say, hey, if we give you, a lot of people ask for shout outs, which like everybody asks for me to say, hey, follow so and so. But bigger companies have contacted me and said, hey, if we give you some free merchandise, will you post about it? So I'm like, heck yeah, I'm all over that. So here and there, somebody will send me a turntable, or somebody will send me some records, and all I got to do is post about it and I can keep it. So that's what happened here. This was Sony. Sony contacted me, and they were doing a giveaway, and they needed me to post. They said every post that you post, we'll give you one free record. So that's totally free records for me, totally worth it. So I was able to do that, and I told them kind of what my tastes were. I told them what artists that were on their label that I really liked, and they sent me this package after I got done posting all the things. So this first one is it's a reissue of Raw Power. This was the first LP is the remastered original '73 Bowie mix, which I actually don't like. I think that Bowie mix is really kind of muddy. I think that this is a really strong record. But the remastered 1997 Iggy Pop mix is a better one. I think that's a better mix. But anyways, I didn't have an even original of this or anything, so I got all three Stooges records right together. That's the first one they sent me. The second one is Jimi Hendrix Machine Gun. This is live at the Fillmore East, the first show, and that was December 31st, 1969. This is man, look at the cover on that thing, man. It's unbelievable. These are all, obviously new records. And they all have, I guess they're promos. It says not for resale. I don't know if they do white label promos anymore, but these are all like promotional giveaways and stuff. This next one's, this is Hear My Music. I've not ever seen this one before. But this had some like unreleased blues tracks on there. It's like a promo. This one's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. And then this I've been wanting to get, but I haven't gotten a chance to go out and get it. Both Sides of the Sky, Hendrix. It's got the promo. Still haven't opened it yet. This one's the one I was most excited about because I don't go to Record Store Day. I don't do that. I just never have time to get out there, and by the time I'm out there, everything I want is gone anyways. So I knew I was not. This was the only thing I wanted on Record Store Day, like really wanted, and I was not going to fight the crowds to get it, but they sent it to me. I was so excited. It's the Pink Floyd Piper at the Gates of Dawn that Record Store Day did, and it's got the promo sticker on it in the front. So cool that they sent me this. I'm so excited. It's the original mono mix. Like I said, I would have not ever probably paid the Record Store Day price for that, and sure as heck ain't paying the after Record Store Day eBay ripper offer price for it. But I was really excited to get that. So all that stuff I got for free pretty much. And I was really excited to get those. And then so now I'm working out a deal with Warner Brothers. They're going to send me some stuff to post about records too. So that's really cool. Kind of a way to get free records for me. So it's been a blessing. Instagram for me, it's been a blessing. I've been doing Instagram since it first came out. I started, and actually when I started, I just started I was just trying to take pictures of things that I had sold. And post them. Really, honestly, was not ever to advertise or anything like that. It was just to be able to look back and see what I had because I was getting so much cool stuff, and I was like, I'm never going to remember this. And so every time I sold something, sold something remarkable, I would post a picture of it. And over the years, people pick up on the account, and it's kind of taken off and gotten us a lot of business and stuff like that. So we've been grateful. So, anyways. That's my recent vinyl finds. It's kind of a lot of stuff. I didn't realize how much I'd gotten lately, but I think the thing I'm most excited about is the Velvet Underground Nico stuff. That album is so killer. That's number one I can cross off my list, and so now I'm not sure what number one would be. So I'm probably something really crazy and obscure that I've got on there. But anyways. Well, you guys take care, and I will see you next time. Sorry for the long video, as usual. See ya.